Hi, Hoyin. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you guys for inviting me for
It's
talking.
great that you could jump on. So the first question I wanted to ask you was cast your mind back and what happened to you and the team at the start of the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, so I remember very clearly. So COVID obviously happened in Asia first, and it was around February, around Chinese New Year, when it really kind of started to pick up. And then I remember very clearly, like before Chinese New Year, it was just. I mean, we had some customers coming in. We had some interest already. I was building a lot of stuff, but it wasn't like it was like drips coming in, and we were all on our way just building this we needed to do, and then in mid-February is when we started to see a lot of inflow from Hong Kong, just Hong Kong only, and
Mhm.
then we started to see a lot more from Asia, and then Europe just slammed us real hard in March, and then in April and May is when the US continues to slam us even harder, and it just kept going up, 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 up. And there was a point in time where like I was doing calls like every like second of my waking hour, and we just didn't have enough manpower to deal with all the interests and all the influx of the inbound leads that we have. And we still can't handle all of them even to today. But that it's from nothing. Literally, like when people say 0 to 1, like it was like 0 to like 1,000.
Well, we had a conversation at the start of the year. So I was speaking to you when you were kind of like, hey, hold on, I'll just get myself a coffee. So I
Yeah.
definitely know you before all this happened. From your perspective, what would you say are the two or three things that Remo does that you think that other platforms aren't quite able to do? What's the kind of USP for Remo?
That's a great question. Um, so okay, so the first thing is what Remo actually is. It's not really it is a meeting platform on the surface. It's like a video conferencing tool, all that stuff. But at the heart and soul of what Remo is that it allows people to authentically meet random people and give that first impression, like in real life. So one person described it to me. He said it makes meeting random strangers online not creepy. That's literally how he explained it. And honestly, that's basically kind of how I feel about it too. And what people tell me is, and that's really it, is that you don't feel awkward starting a conversation with random people. It feels exactly like as if you're at an offline event. That's the number one USP. That's something that no one else does. And we've cracked it with the format, small group, ability to move around. That sort of parallel to how you actually do in real life is a paradigm changer. The second is the ability to customize the map. So the map, once we started to like allow people to upload their own maps, is like this huge. We like opened a Pandora's box, to be honest. Like I didn't even know how um, how crazy people are about it. I mean, I can like maybe I'm trying to like pull up. I can like share just a few custom maps that people have created, and this huge like avalanche of custom, we call them floor plans, excuse my language. Excuse me, I'm sharing my screen right now. They're just like just for show. So people like look at this. This is crazy. Like, look at this. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely insane. This is from down under tourism Australia. Um, you know,
When we spoke in January, I looked at this and I said, I think you've cracked the online exhibition because that's what it looked like to me first off. And I know there's people on here who are looking at it for award ceremonies and dinners, but also the networking and conferences. So for me, one of those kind of key factors for you is that the fact it's quite small and it's not able to do that much. However, you're able to do loads with the few things that are on the platform, which I think is really, really good. And the maps is fantastic. What made you come up with this idea, Hoyin?
just before I want to just so in Japan it also grew really big. This is a sumo arena. Like somebody made a sumo arena and I didn't know about this until like a week ago. This is I mean,
Brilliant.
people ask me that a lot, and it's not like, I mean, it's not. I had the idea, but it became, it was something that was like not exactly what it is today. It had a lot of, it had a huge journey, a lot of trial and error, a lot of evolution. And the way how it started was that we started off with the virtual office. And the virtual office, I don't know if you guys are, but we have a virtual office side of this. So we started off with this product. Same exact concept. Double click, move, turn on your mic and cam, same things. People are working in my office. They're having a meeting right now. And it allows, and we start off with this. And we did this like very the beginning, and it wasn't really that big yet. It was still like a fringe thing. We started with that, and it ended up that nobody really bought it, right? Nobody really dug it. And then we got an opportunity to basically partner with Remote Work Summit, which was this virtual summit that, you know, was held in April of last year. It gave us an opportunity to try out this new idea and say, hey, why don't we try to sell the virtual office product, which was what the remote work, you know, convention was about, as where customers were, and we just tweaked to do that. And then that's what we did. And we just got fantastic feedback, and that's kind of like how it just got kickstarted. And
Well,
really,
I had a conversation with a few event organizers, and we were saying, if you think it's tough being in the events business at the moment, try being in the office rental business at the moment, and that's where they're really, really going to struggle. So you sly devil, have targeted both these markets with the product, and can we integrate with other platforms?
yeah, so we can integrate with Hey Summit. We're planning on Zapier really soon. We have some already with Zapier. You'll be able to get the Eventbrite and a lot of the other ones. Hey Summit is like the biggest one that we have with right now.
Yeah. What's the maximum number of participants? I think that's overall rather than per table. I know you're going to go up to 10 seats per table, aren't you?
Yeah,
Eventually. Is there a
yeah,
maximum number of participants overall?
yeah. Overall, it's 100 people per floor, and you can have a total of 10 floors, so it's 1,000 people that could be in the space. But in this presentation mode, you can hook this up to YouTube Live, and that could give you another 3,000 participants just viewing just this. But
Okay.
for tables, yes, you're right. We're going up to 10.
And you touch on that on the floors piece. So when you're in a group, let them know what the floors are, what that means.
Yeah, it's just a good question. So each floor can fit like 100 people, and you can think of this as like an event building. And so each in increments of 100 that you add, you can add additional floors. So let's say you have 400 people and you wrote 400 people in their settings, you would immediately just go build 4 floors, which is build automatically for you. And on the left-hand side, there's like this floor panel, which is kind of covered right now, but it's like a floor panel, it's like an elevator panel, and you can just click on the floor that you want to jump to. So each floor is identical to the one to each other. The sponsors, the layout is all identical. The only thing that's different is that the table names can be different on each floor, but everything else has to be same. Everyone watches the same presentation mode. You can't split each floor to watch its own presentation.
Has anyone used Remo for an awards event where they were charging for tables? Do you know the answer to that one? Yeah.
We have a nonprofit for they're like doing fundraising for donations, and they would like buy per table, and each table would have a specific name, and each table may even have a specific image on the table itself, and it has a logo of whoever that company was in that example.
Okay. Yeah, it would be brilliant to know your roadmap up until the end of the year, or a bit further. What do you reckon?
So regarding roadmap, oh man, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. The first thing is we are one of the things that we want to accomplish before the end of this year is the ability to have a map. So what you see in the back with all the tables is like a floor plan. You can imagine like one step up, like have you guys ever seen like a Disneyland map or a conference map where it shows all the different halls and stuff like that? So we want to do that. And
cool.
Each hall or each building, whatever you want to call it, when you click on it, it will jump right into this floor plan. And then there'll be a button where you click on it, and it will show this map again, and you can go to another place. So what this creates is that you can then create parallel sessions. You can then use it to create a lobby where people can come into the lobby first and then move to other places. You can then also create special networking lounges, or you can create special lounges that are like specific sponsors, and you just brand it entirely for that, for specific networking. More ways to help sponsors like express their brand and awareness. Other thing is we're doing an entirely rebranding. We're rebranding the whole thing. So we'll be rebranding the map, we'll be rebranding the presentation, we're having a different logo, we'll be rebranding the whole thing, and it's gonna look more professional and more of like a kind of like a startup. Right now it's still using like a lot of old logo stuff and
yeah. But it looks good though. It still looks really good.
An old logo that like we just created ourselves. We didn't pay anyone for just so we have a lot of to do. Other things like, for example, like emojis in presentation, like when you click on the clap, there'll be like a little clap icon that kind of goes like that, little heart that kind of goes like that. That helps attendees get back to presenters like us. We'll be doing, we'll be working on GDPR compliance and becoming GDPR compliant. We will be doing, let's see here. Let me just go back to my document here. And we would love to do, an addenda as well, where you click on it and you can see kind of the scheduled agenda for that event.
Yeah.
We will also be planning on a map builder. You don't have to like talk to a map designer. You can kind of drag and drop, like kind of like you're designing your own home. You can drag and drop the furniture and like organize it yourself and do that. We will also do ability to restream out, so you can stream out to Facebook live, so that you can broaden this like a lot more, have more coverage.
Is that the RTMP capabilities?
Yes, RTMP. That's right. That's the technical.
Yeah,
word.
we're all technical. We're all technical on here. I'll explain RTMP to maybe a couple of people who don't know, but it is pretty complicated, but really important to be able to increase the production value and also allow a lot more people to watch the main sessions when you use RTMP. But that's in there. Okay, great.
Yeah, and then polls. We want to do polls. We also want to do something where like you can have a green room for speakers. So I know you guys created a green room. We want to do that specifically for speakers as well. And then engagement metrics. So we want to dive really deep into engagement metrics to allow you to see like what connections people are making, how engaged they are, like how many minutes are they speaking and stuff like that. Dive deep into kind of identify like what parts where people were dropping off, what parts were people like chatting more with each other, what parts were working well and what didn't, and we can actually kind of have that timeline for you. So we're trying to work on that. And then let's see, and then finally is the ability to kind of like develop relationships like after meeting here. So you can swap business cards, and also like setting up like a meeting space post event. So this is something that I would love to get your feedback on like later on. So we're thinking about having a post-event page. So for example, like let's say this thing finished, right? Then the post-event page would have the recording, the audio transcription if you turn it on, and recording if you turn it on, and any kind of other additional information that you want post-event. So it's like this page where you can then have all this data and this information there to have your attendees that have attended to come back and take a look. And also, like let's say you connected with someone before and you want to get back and get connected with them, you can go in and log in and connect with people, each other after the event, in case if you missed the connection or something. Yeah.
Great. Well,
that's really something
Yeah, well, certainly on that, certainly I recommend to my my clients that they have to start creating content and connections that last a longer period of time than they would traditionally do at a physical event, and also to kind of think about this idea of evergreen content. Don't just create your content and it just disappears. Think about where you can place it, how you can draw people back onto it, and all this increases this kind of coverage. And certainly if you've got your sponsors and exhibitors, having people engage and re-engage helps this coverage piece of your event. So yeah, I would imagine there'd be some interest in that. Those, I've got 11 things, so best of luck. Do you want to just knock off a couple of those questions that have come in?
Sure. At the moment, registration fields are only email and name. Will you be adding in new fields such as job title, company names to collect more information on each attendee? So now when you go onboarding, you can add your job title and the company when you go through the onboarding process. Actually, there's a place where you can fill out the profile. So that actually is already there, Rebecca. I don't know if you saw that, but it's there when you do the onboarding. If you've been on the platform before, you may not have seen it, but new attendees now go through this. This is a new onboarding that we launched about 2 weeks ago.
You've been doing these events now at kind of en masse for about 4 months. Is there anything that you would like to tell a group of organizers that you've found a little bit surprising, or have you kind of spotted any trends that you think would be really interesting for us? Because you obviously have got an amazing view of a lot more events, and a lot of people who are coming to virtual events are struggling, and we're just keen to get as much information as possible because we're all only doing 2 or 3, although some of us will be doing virtual events for longer. That type of stuff is really useful, really interesting for us.
Yeah, I've spotted a few trends. One trend is the concept of like large events all the time, or usual really massive large events. Is I see that not really. I see it still being there, but I see that being broken up into small, like a large event with many small events in between. And the reason is because now it's a lot cheaper to bring people and engage them. And the other thing is that when you host a big event and then the next year you host another big event, it's kind of like you have to rebuild a lot of the audience and a lot of the hype, and like it's like a lot of activity and then no activity and then a lot of activity. Like there's a lot of gap in between. And so what I see a lot of people doing is that they're hosting a lot of events in between, which means that they're using the platform more, hosting more frequently, lower numbers, but that ends up engaging people more frequently over the long term, but actually community better over the long term. So for platforms like mine, what you end up seeing is like, I don't know if you guys go hang out at the local pub or like the local community center or some sort of community place or a church or whatever. You're like, oh, hey, Mark, how's your daughter? Hey, how's your dog? Blah, blah. Like you get that feeling of community and you develop that. And because of the way how we build impressions so well, that becomes a much more stronger community bond more than ever. The other thing is that people are learning like version 1.0 is like that's it. So right now what I'm seeing is that most advanced event planners and the virtual events owners realize that human engagement is still really important. It's still incredibly important. And they're trying to maintain that human interaction, and realizing that human interaction is still most valuable is that they're experimental in the way how they create their events. Not that they have to replicate it like step by step as to what a physical event is like, but being much more experimental and trying like different formats, different things, like small group interactions, going into webinar mode and then back presentation mode and then back into the tables, like flip-flopping a little bit more often to kind of like suit the situation. And so they're doing a lot of this type of experimentation. And this is like the Wild West, like I would say, in terms of the way how virtual events are. And to me, this is the most exciting part. And
yeah, well, no, from an organizer's perspective, Hoyin, we don't like the Wild West. We are, but yeah, I agree with you. It has been really good seeing this kind of innovation, and I think often event organizers are too busy to really open up the creative part of their psyche. And I think this move to virtual has forced a lot of organizers to do this. And I like that people are coming onto these platforms and not looking at it thinking, what does it do, but what can I do with this platform? And I think that's a really, really good approach. Any other kind of final trends have you noticed with I mean, yes, how many events have you had on the platform? Any idea?
And we have like 4,000 events every month.
Okay.
So I'll tell you another. I don't know what you guys, and tell me if you guys have different like success metrics. I ask virtual event organizers, what does success look like for you? Right? A lot of them will say, oh, well, feedback, or oh, we do a survey and see what they say and what people say, or sponsors, they get a lot of, maybe they get a lot of interest on their booth and they tell us and through a survey that they did well. This is sometimes what I hear, but what we're seeing now is the amount of quality of engagement analytics that we can generate from these virtual events is like changing the game. Like now it's not about surveys. It's like I can tell you how much engagement people are having. Exactly. I can tell you how much connections people are making. I can tell how much minutes that they're spending on here. I can tell you which speakers are spending a lot of minutes on. I can tell you like all this attendance and engagement and how that data can help your sponsors. And also the sponsors get direct like not only access, but people who are interested will click on the sponsor itself, or they'll go to the sponsor table, and we can measure that.
Generate, because that's definitely a trend that I'm seeing online, is this use the data and the metrics to enhance the value proposition for the sponsors.
Yes.
And
exactly.
That's really key. You can't just pivot the physical. You need to look at digital and think, what else can it do? How can it add the extra value? And that data and the metrics bit's key. So I'm really pleased you're looking at that. There's another question for Rebecca, who should be an MC. She starts at, speaking of engagement, being at the heart of the event, is there any gamification around Remo? Is that anything you're planning?
Gamification. I don't know what gamification. I mean, oh yes, like so we partner with like, you guys remember Gleam by any chance?
Gleam, yeah, Gleam, yeah, Gleanin, yeah.
Gleam. I don't know if you guys heard of Gleam, but Gleam is like this web app that it's called Gleam.io. What it is like it hosts contests and giveaways. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but like it's this basically just have this like competition, and it tells you like, oh, share on Facebook and then get like one entry, share on Twitter, share on this, get share and invite, do certain things and blah blah blah, and get this secret code, and only available if you attend the event and the secret code at the end of the event. And that was worth like 50 points or something. And all those points add up to some sort of giveaway. So what we've done is we've given away like AirPod Pros. People go crazy about it. People go crazy. They're like, they're like gamifying it, doing all these things, and so you can like do that. So we partner with them to do that. But within our application, we do some we want to do some gamification regarding the socialization and the aspect of like bringing people together. So like talk to different people and you'll get like a certain number of points or something like that. We do have some of that, but Gleam is much more effective because it strengthens your marketing and it produces more word of mouth and viral word of mouth, and it makes people stay. Like it makes you can drive the right behaviors that you want, like make people stay through the whole event, for example.
It's a really good question, because gamification has been proven to increase people's engagement on platforms. Even though maybe when you're a bit like me, I wouldn't take part. I don't think there's value there, but evidence is showing that there definitely is. But on a more general point, what I wanted to say was that I think people are becoming much more open to having the kind of second screen and using this when we're on platforms like this. And I think it's a really, really good way to look at your event and think, do you know what? I don't want to force or kind of jerry in things for Remo to do. Let's just allow it to do what it does really well, and have the polls or the gamification or something else on a mobile phone, and have this idea of using this as a second screen to really enhance the experience. And for an organizer, I would suggest that you look at this option of having a second screen, or even, as I'm doing for some of my clients, only using something like Remo for part of your event, and feel free to have people jumping off and jumping on to different environments as you would at a physical event, encouraging people to leave your dark ballroom to go to a light refreshment space or go to a breakout room. Be a little bit more flexible about jumping on and off platform. Can you record all of the content, or is it just the main stage, or can you do the breakouts as well? The table.
Right now, it's main stage. At the breakouts, there's some privacy issues that we just don't want to get into yet. So we're just the main stage at the moment. You can export out the chat as well. You can export out the questions being asked. You can export out on the sponsors. You can also export out the people who clicked on those sponsors. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. And I'll let you know the feedback. People are going to spend a little bit more time on the platform playing around with it.
Great.
All right, catch up soon.